G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Rundown Under with Mags, my kinda semi-regular talkback series that's kinda like Mingles with Jingles, only with more Aussie and less scheduling. So anyways, what has been going on this month so far? Well, quite a lot actually. As most of you know, I'm deep in a course in design at this point, which is going well, although it is also the reason why there has been a drop-off in the videos over the last few days. See, I'm currently on school holidays, but before I went on school holidays, I was given a bunch of assessments that needed doing. Now, they were not all due the first day back. We actually have the first week back to get them all done and handed in. The problem is, if you haven't noticed over the last 6 years, I'm kind of bad with keeping track of time. So I realised on Friday that pretty much half the holidays was gone, and I hadn't even started on these assessments. And to top it off, the first week back is actually PAX Oz weekend. I will once again be going down and attending PAX Oz in Melbourne, so I'll only be in class for the first week back for maybe 2 days if I'm lucky. So as you can imagine, on realising this, I promptly shat bricks and have been furiously working my ass off playing catch up ever since. It's not all that bad though. One of the assessment tasks has me designing a series of posters, and I recently set up a DisPlate store, which is a store where I essentially sell metal posters that you mount on the walls with magnets. They're actually really, really nice. And I did need to actually get some designs up there. So essentially what I get to do is design some stuff in class that completes the assessments, and then I get to put them up on the DisPlate store as well, so you guys can have them. I'm actually looking at doing a series of designs involving aircraft that share the same name. So, Lightning would be one, Thunderbolt would be another, and pairing them off with their old and their new counterparts. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to design. I've done all the preliminary sketches for that already. I'll be starting on the main designs hopefully tonight, maybe tomorrow. And yeah, hopefully there'll be something up on the store soon enough on DisPlate, which is currently a little bare bones, but it should be pretty cool to have some dedicated designs up there. So, anyways, what else has been going on? Well, as I just mentioned, PAX 2019 is almost here. I have been going down to this every single year since 2016, I think was my first year. Anyways, it's always good fun, very much enjoy it, and I'll be heading down as press again this year. Already have an appointment booked with Nvidia to talk about the RTX series and ray tracing in general. Apparently they want to show off their new official RTX version of Minecraft, which is not something that I would, not something that normally relates to the channel, but it should be interesting enough to see as it is. And I'm hoping to get a few questions in on developing games and simulations with RTX in mind. I mean, I'm pretty sure Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 will have RTX lighting available out of the box, but it's being built with Microsoft money. I'm more curious about what needs to be done and how easy it is to enable RTX support inside of existing titles like IL2 and DCS, simulations from companies that don't have Microsoft levels of money just laying about, and how viable the technology is for those, because, let's be perfectly honest, RTX is really interesting, and it could do wonderful things in the simulation community, but is the technology even going to be available enough to non-AAA level developers to be able to use it or integrate it properly? Exactly what support is there for that? I'm also going to try and edge in a few questions about RTX performance, as I've seen a couple of titles that can pull well over 110 FPS with RTX off, but they tank down to 45 or below with RTX on, and it doesn't matter how good it is. If the game cannot maintain or the simulation for that matter, cannot maintain the frame rates with RTX on, why would I want it on? It doesn't matter how good the game is, if it runs like shit, I'm not going to play it at that option. But anyways, we'll see how Nvidia's rep responds to that, and if they're even interested in going down that path. It's entirely possible it'll just be a press rep that will not have the slightest clue on any of this, and we'll just basically have a script to run through. But we'll see what they've actually got down at PAX, and hopefully we might get something interesting out of that. I'm also planning on taking a look around at the cockpit and VR simulations on show. PAX isn't really a simulation showcase, it's not really something that's heavily covered there, but there is usually a little bit around every single year. Logitech stand in particular generally has some cockpits set up, although they're generally set up with racing in mind, but they're stuff that could be easily adaptable over to a flight simulation without too much of an issue. Cooler Master had a really interesting design seat last year as well, although I believe the price point on that one was something like $5,000, so it's not exactly something that's going to be in everybody's budget. And I want to take a look around the VR side of stuff as well, because obviously this year has been a big one. We've got the Rift S that's popped up, the Valve Index has popped up. I do not know if Valve will have that presented down at PAX Oz. I'm kind of hoping they will. I'd love to get a close look at one. And there is, I believe, HTC has something out as well as a whole bunch of sub-level stuff, like Microsoft's got their version and a few others. So I'm sort of hoping that VR will be fairly heavily on show, and I really want to get a deep look into some of these and see exactly how they perform. Again, probably won't be on simulation titles, but on something that is fairly high frame rate, fairly intensive, just to start getting an idea on exactly how they perform in relation to VR, and maybe a few of them might actually let us get something like DCS installed on somewhere and be able to run a test. Don't know, we'll see what happens. Beyond that, I don't really have any extra plans down there. I just really enjoy going down for the event itself. The feel of the place is absolutely fantastic. You have all the amazing displays. You get to check out the games that'll be coming up over the next 12 months. The cosplayers, of course. The cosplayers put in fantastic levels of effort, and they're always worth checking out. I'm sort of hoping the 40k crowd will be on display again. They were lacking a little bit last year, but we had a couple of Space Marines that were fantastically done the year before. Sort of hoping they'll be back again this year, and we might see a reduction in the Overwatch cosplay, although that is probably unlikely. It tends to be a bit popular. But yeah, good stuff all around, and I am really looking forward to it. And let me know in the comment section down below if any of you guys are attending PAX Oz this year, and we might try and organise some kind of a meetup on the Saturday or something, and catch up somewhere around the venue or at a nearby bar and grab a beer after it's all closed up, and see what happens. Anyways, moving beyond PAX, games on the channel, and this is a bit of an interesting story. So, not that long ago, I started up a short playthrough of Frontier Pilot Simulator. Good little game, indie developed, interesting, quite fun, and I'm sure some of you have noticed that it's a game that I haven't returned to. There is a reason for that. You see, the game got an update, and the update broke my save game. So if I'm going to start again, I actually have to start again from scratch. It's not necessarily a major issue to have to do. I wasn't a huge distance into the game, but it's still something I'd have to start again and play the whole way back through. Anyways, it's an early access game, so stuff like this is to be expected. Only a couple of days ago, I got an email. Now, the email was from the developer of Frontier Pilot Simulator, thanking me for covering the game and letting me know that there was an update. An update that was at least in part inspired by some of the problems and criticisms that I pointed out in my playthrough of the game and my observations, and also some of the observations and comments you guys made in the comments section of those videos. So by playing the game and you guys commenting on the gameplay of that game, we inspired at least part of the update that was just released by the developer that broke the save game that we were playing, preventing me from continuing the playthrough on that save. Shit. So anyways, I am probably going to pop Frontier Pilot Simulator back up on the channel relatively soon, and I'll be having a look through the update and see exactly what has been done. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm sort of hoping we might have TrackIR support inside of the cockpits. If we do, I'll actually start flying a bit more from inside of the cockpit to make things a bit more interesting. And I'm hoping some of the context menus, particularly those based around passengers wanting a ride across the map, has been sorted out, because it was a bit ugly and a bit awkward and a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with previously. But as I said, I haven't looked at the update yet, so I'm sort of hoping that these things are in, because these were some of my primary complaints, but we will wait and have to have a little bit of a look. And in the theme of otherworldly and out-of-space stuff, KSP is popping back up on the channel now. I'm still not sure on exactly how I'm going to edit that one. Obviously, some of the early missions are always going to be slow. You have access to limited tech. I'm still trying to work out exactly how to make that series presentable. It's been a long time since I've done it, and I want to do something a bit special with it because I do love KSP, and I would like it to, if everybody likes it, eventually lead up into some kind of perhaps lead constant into KSP2, because there's most certainly enough content in the game to play it for years. I mean, people have been. I have been, although I haven't played it much recently. So as I said, I have to remember everything. I used to be able to recite out the exact Delta V requirements to move between each of the planets off memory. I can't do that anymore, so I need to get myself back in the swing of things. But yeah, more KSP will be popping up on the channel fairly soon. I might even do some of it as a live stream. I am trying to get the live streams back fired up again, because quite frankly, doing a lot of the design work is really eating into the editing time. Doing a live stream for some of these game playthroughs, since I am essentially doing a live playthrough, would probably be easier. The only reason I'm not live streaming more at this point in time is because my internet connection is garbage, to put it lightly. So if at best I can get a 720p stream that is stable, that's about the best that I can pull off at this point. Although I can record all my streams in 1080p here, and then transfer the streams over. So maybe, I don't think I would change Kingdom Come Deliverance. I keep doing it the way that I'm doing it, although it would be fantastic on a stream. But I'm more than 20 episodes in at this point, so I'm trying to keep that one in the format that it is currently in. Although, let me know in the comment section down below whether or not you think I should start playing Kingdom Come Deliverance on stream. I mean, it'll play a bit janky, but I'll obviously be recording it in 1080p for upload afterwards. So you guys let me know what you want, and we'll see what we go with there. Otherwise, my thing was for the stream, because of the quality, was always turn-based and strategy was what I was sort of doing in there. Stuff that doesn't have ultra-high-speed gameplay, because that's where streams that have upload issues tend to fall apart. Having said that, I did do a U-boat stream. Not much happened in it, but I did get my U-boat back to port, continuing what I had done on the channel not that long ago. And I probably will just run through a U-boat on stream, because there is a lot of downtime being a submarine simulation, and it's quite fun to be able to chat to people and show stuff off and talk about stuff while I'm playing. And on top of that, it's only going to be a relatively short series anyway. The idea was just to look through until the point that the U-boat got sunk, have a bit of a look at exactly how the game has progressed at this point. It is still early access, it still has a lot of development that needs to be done, but I just wanted to give it a poke and see where it's currently at. So since it's only going to be a fairly short run one anyway, keeping it at a stream might be the easiest way, and record it at 1080p and then upload it afterwards. I didn't do that with the last stream because, as I said, nothing happened, but we'll upload them permanently in the future. Beyond that, for stream stuff, I'm probably looking at... I did have a request to do Surviving Mars again, which I did a series on channel a little while ago, but a lot has changed since then. A lot of DLCs have been released, a lot of updates. There's whole new sets of tech inside of the game now. So maybe doing a Surviving Mars playthrough on stream would be a bit of fun, and then upload the VODs afterwards. Obviously, the 1080p 60 recordings that I do myself, just upload them pretty much raw as they were. Although I would like to try and get the chat displayed somewhere on the video if you can. So when I'm talking to the chat, you can see who I'm talking to and what I'm doing. Until that's done, I might just have to make sure I read out all the questions. But I'll work something out there. That's my thing to work out. Otherwise, space stuff on the channel. Star Citizen. It has been nearly 6 months and coming up on almost 3 patches since I've really covered Star Citizen. I didn't drop the game. I did drop the game, but I haven't quit on the game. I wasn't frustrated with the game. I didn't give up on the game. I am just letting it do its thing. The problem with Star Citizen, and this is something that I think a lot of channels are going to find. Star Citizen has had an incredibly long development time. We all know that. In fact, it's a giant meme at this point in time. I personally don't think Star Citizen is actually going to fail. I think it's going to release and it's going to be fine, but it is going to go down as a very long development time and a very high expense developed game. Which is fine, providing we get an end product game. It doesn't matter. I'm not concerned about the path we took to get there. I know I've personally spent quite a bit of money on the game myself, but I've never spent any amount of money on the game that I didn't feel that I had available to spend. I never spent anything that I couldn't afford to spend on the game, and my expenditures on the game has been over 5 years. So it's really pocket change. The money I've spent on Star Citizen is the money that I used to spend on piss in a bar on Saturday night. It's really an irrelevant amount in the long run. But I getting past all that, I think it's going to be perfectly fine, and the game will eventually come out. The problem is, because the game's development has been completely open from the very moment of conception, when it was just Chris Roberts and I think 2 or 3 other people in a basement putting together the original pitch idea for Star Citizen, up until where it is now, where it's, what are they on, 600 or 700 employees now, over 5 offices in 4 different countries on 3 different continents or something. Like, it's ridiculous. The place is huge. They essentially started out like an indie development studio. They now rival some AAA developers in terms of size, and they've been growing over the whole thing. And we've been able to watch the progression of that over time, but the problem is people that have been covering Star Citizen sort of every single week for this entire development time, I'm watching some of them. Like, I do watch them in order to keep up with the content they're producing, and they're regularly burning out. They're running out of things to say, kind of like I did with War Thunder. I covered War Thunder for years, and I sort of reached a point where, you know, I could go back and I could essentially redo a lot of the videos, that I revisit a lot of the aircraft that I've revisited and talk about a lot of the things that I've already talked about, and basically refresh videos that I've already made. Or I could not, and I could do something else. And that's sort of where I hit with War Thunder, and it's why my War Thunder content initially slowed down, because I was looking at stuff and I had no idea what to say, because I'd already said it, and I don't feel the need to say stuff twice. And I'm seeing that with some of the channels that are covering Star Citizen. The game hasn't actually released yet. It's still in alpha, heading towards beta stage, and there are already channels that have run out of things to say about Star Citizen. So they're scrambling for every single little piece of information they can get out of the weekly Star Citizen reports in order to make their content. And I don't want to be like that. I do not want that to be the focus of my channel. So basically what I'm going to do is jump in, do a big block of coverage in one big hit. So we'll look at the game mechanics, where it's developing. If there's a PTU running at that particular time, we'll have a look at the PTU and what's coming up in the next patch, what mechanics have gone into the game in the gap of time where I haven't been covering Star Citizen, what new ships are there. I might go into a little bit more detail with the ships. I've got quite a few sitting in my garage, and I know people that have a lot of ships. So actually go through and have a close look at each and every individual one that is currently available to fly within the game, and then drop it. Let it percolate for a couple of patches. Let it go on and do its thing. Move on to other games. Cover other titles that are out that you can play right now that are through their development, and then come back into it once a few more patches have gone through, so we can see the significant jumps and actually cover a big block of content. It means I'm not going to be always the most up-to-date when it comes to Star Citizen stuff. In fact, I might be covering mechanics that have been out for 2 patches. But that's fine. I don't need to be the first person on the block. I'm not an ambulance-chasing YouTube channel, in case you haven't worked it out yet already. I don't need to chase the latest trend, and I have no interest in doing it. I would rather sit back, let stuff work through, and then look at stuff a little bit later on when it's had a chance to develop and establish itself, and we can actually see how it works into the greater picture. And that's not just Star Citizen, that's everything in general. But anyways, that point in time is coming up now anyways. So I've got Star Citizen all up to date for the latest patch, and I'm probably going to jump in. I believe there is a PTU running now. It's either the Evocati or the PTU that's running at the moment for the next patch. So I'm going to jump in. I think I've got 2 patches worth of content that I haven't covered at all that I can look over at this point, and then I'm probably either going to get a patch release or I'm going to get some PTU coverage prior to the release of the next patch, which will lead up to the Star Citizen anniversary, where we should get the next big reveal. Anything that's on Squadron 42, see whether or not Squadron 42 is still going to make its 2020 schedule. Remember, I think it was Q2. Don't quote me on that. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, and I haven't got the numbers in front of me at the moment, but I think they were looking at Q2 for closed beta or open beta testing to start for Squadron 42. next year. So 2020. So we're not actually far out of that. Star Citizen itself, the MMO expanded universe, persistent universe, is going to be a little bit further down the track than that. But I think about at least half the backers of Star Citizen are really interested in Squadron 42. I want to fly out with Luke fucking Skywalker as my wingman, or as my commander, and I'm his wingman. I don't particularly care which way it goes. Mark Hamill is going to be issuing me orders, and I'm going to be working with Mark Hamill to shoot space pirates in the face while fighting space aliens, flying space fighters. I am totally cool with this, regardless of which way it works. So hopefully that is on schedule and there hasn't been any delays. And we should get a whole bunch of other reveals, because they generally do in around anniversary, Star Citizen Con and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, anyways, that'll be coming up soon, and that should be sort of the lead out for my block of Star Citizen coverage, and then I will drop it off, and if everything is on schedule, hopefully, Q2 next year, I'll pick it back up again. Might do a little bit of coverage around the Christmas stuff and see what they do, and then pick it back up again there, hopefully at the start of the Squadron 42 beta, because by frig am I looking forward to that. But yeah, anyways, that's about everything that has been going on, and basically my current plans for the channel. I am trying to keep to the schedule. I am definitely keeping Kingdom Come Deliverance to my schedule for Mondays, although it has been pushing into Tuesdays my time a little bit on some of the uploads, because I've been trying to, at your request, increase the length of the videos, so they're now slowly creeping towards an hour or just over an hour long. My net connection, that takes a bit of time to get them up, but regardless, I'm trying to stick that one on Mondays. Everything else is still in a little bit of flux on exactly where I'm putting everything for the moment, but I am trying to keep as close to a daily release as possible. Again, around this design work, that's not really a thing. I have been doing some tests on how to set up a camera for some of my drawing work and potentially putting up some of that, although the tests that I've done on it so far, that's really something I probably want to start putting into a second channel. And my drawing work overall isn't fantastic. The course I'm doing is graphic design, not illustration, but I'm doing some courses on the side working on illustration as well, because I want that flexibility for it. I'm working on a couple more t-shirt designs at the moment. I've got 2 for the F117. One is already up, which is the F117 Randall logo, the Stealth logo, which is already on the Teespring store right now. I'm working on a new one at the moment that's going to go with that will be using that logo that's on that shirt, as well as a bit more of an expanded design. But it's going to take a little while to get organized, because it will be, hopefully, my first all-over print shirt. So rather than the current shirts where Teespring has a fairly limited, like sort of a box on the shirt that you can put all of your artwork inside of, and nothing can expand outside of that if it wants to get printed. I have reached the point on Teespring now where I have access to an all-over print where I can put anything pretty much anywhere I want it to go, but it is far more complex to set up the shirt, because the shirt essentially needs to be broken down into panels, and I need to structure all of the artwork so it lines up, because the shirt is printed non-assembled. And then once the printing is done, the shirt is then cut and stitched together, and if I want all the artworks and all the line works to actually line up on all the pieces, I need to get the design perfect. Otherwise, well, it won't line up and it'll look like crap. So that's a little bit more involved to set up. Hoping I'll have that one up sometime soon, although it is being delayed, and it and my Spitfire shirt are being delayed by this classwork, which I kind of need to get done. I need to have it finished. I do kind of want this degree, and I'm possibly going to be going for another one afterwards. So, anyways, that's basically where I am. So, hope you guys enjoyed the update and the video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, check the video description down below for the links to all my social media, my Twitch, my Discord, if you want to come and chat to me, my Teespring store where you'll find my artwork, and I should have a link for my Displate store down there as well now, I think. I should, hopefully, if I haven't managed to mess it up. If I have messed it up, let me know in the comments section down below. And let me know in the comments down below what you think of any of this and what's going on, what your opinions are. Positive or negative, I need the feedback if I'm going to know anything that's going on. And until next time, guys, remember to click that like button, share and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and as always, take care.